अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुमीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। या कुन्देषु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः दैवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती बुद्धिप्रदां शारदे बुद्धिप्रदां शारदे। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Okay, so Jai Gurudev, everybody. Jai, welcome all of you from BMUK who are on the Zoom call. Jai Gurudev, and welcome to everyone who's watching from across the world on Facebook, and welcome to anyone who's new to Bhakti Marga and who's new to Guruji. So this event, online event, this series is called Journeys of Grace. Very simply, it's we get to hear from one of the devotees of Paramahamsa Vishwananda, of Guruji, and they will very simply share their story of their life with Guruji so far. So before we sort of get started with the satsang and get our speaker online, we thought it'd be nice to actually hear a few words from Guruji himself. He's not live. It's a recording. It's part of a recording of a satsang that he gave in January this year, and it's essentially about what it means to him personally when he hears the devotees speak about their journey on the spiritual path. So if we could play that video now, that'd be good.
It's so beautiful to hear the story of the devotee, more than anything else, more than my own story. You know, it's more beautiful to hear the devotee, the journey of the devotee, and that it is, and that's what makes it the most beautiful. It's so beautiful to hear the
Okay, so it's just a very short clip there. But as Guruji said, from his perspective, what he's most concerned about, and what really touches him the most, and he's said it in recent satsangs as well, is the journey of the devotee, the transformation of the devotee, and when he sees his devotees grow, people grow spiritually, that's what really sort of touches him. So what we're really trying to convey with these satsangs is to capture that transformation that Guruji's speaking of, to capture the transformation that's taken place within the devotee. By all of us kind of listening and hearing the story, we can be inspired. We ourselves can learn from what we're hearing and grow in our relationship with God and on our spiritual path. So in the last few months, we've heard from two of the Bhakti Marga Swamis, Swami Anushree. We've heard from Swami Revatikanta about how they both moved from London to SVN. We had a couple of satsangs from Guruji's brother Ravi, who not only gave his own kind of journey with Guruji, but actually gave a biography of Guruji's own journey from Guruji's childhood to where Guruji is now. The most recent satsang that we had about a month ago was again from a devotee called Anshul, who also moved from the UK to just outside of the ashram in Sri Pithinelia in Germany. So today we're going to hear from Anshul's wife, Suba. So we can just bring Suba up on the screen. Jagadev.
Jagadev shares. Jagadev, everybody.
So Suba, I'm not going to embarrass you too much. I'm just going to give semi kind of factual account of you.
Please.
So you met Guruji in 2006, I think it was. Slightly later than some of the others. You married Anshul in 4 years later in 2010. Moved to Germany, literally it was like New Year's Eve, sort of 2016, early 2017. I think now you see Suba on screen and in the posters, so many of you would probably see her around Sri Pithinelia with her two young boys, or should I say running after her two young boys as they run around the place. You would have heard Suba sing on the song that we were playing as everyone was waiting. So she's one of the main singers in Bhakti Marga, incredible voice. And what you're probably most well known for now is that we get to see you almost every week, twice a week, because Suba is the presenter of Connected with the Divine. So I think you all know when Guruji does his japa and satsangs, not every Tuesday and Thursday now, but most Tuesdays and Thursdays. The lady who's on that video explaining what japa is and explaining what satsang is Suba, as you can see. So it's great to have you here. So so what we're going to do is we'll have the main satsang with yourself, Suba. We're streaming this, as you know, we're streaming this live on Facebook as well. So we'll have a couple of questions. If people have submitted questions from people on Facebook, we'll have a couple of questions from people on the Zoom call as well. Then we'll do that part where we look at some. Your photos aren't really that embarrassing or funny, but we'll just look at your photos, some of your personal photos that you've kindly shared with us, and then we'll just have a quick sort of update of what's coming up as well. So introduction's over. So Suba, it's over to you. If we could unmute Suba, that'd be good.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear now.
Yeah. Thank you again for inviting me. It's lovely. It's lovely to have relived these moments actually, and like Guruji said, it's quite uplifting and quite nourishing. So I hope I don't bore you too much, but I'll get stuck in. My first, a little bit. I know you've said about myself. Oh, you said it actually, but the first experience I really want to share is my initial meeting with Guruji. It's very special, it's very unique, and I think most devotees have that initial aha moment where you realize he is divine, or at least he's someone special, and he means something in your life. And yeah, I just want to share you my one. So basically, around the time when I met Guruji, I was a qualified dentist, and I was quite happy with life. I was single, carefree. But one thing I did do when I did graduate, I wanted to take part in charity work. So I would sign up to various organizations who would carry out medical trips to various parts of the world. And this particular year, 2006, I was kind of thinking, oh, when's the next opportunity going to come up? And then I get a call from Myron. And basically Myron, our families have been longtime friends, so we all kind of grew up together, and he knew I was a dentist. And he basically invited me to join him and be a part of the dental team on this trip to India. It would be May of that year, 2006. And I even told him, I said, well, I was just thinking about this, and this couldn't have happened at a better time. And then I agreed. And then Myron went a bit quiet for a bit, and he, almost like a disclaimer, said, just to let you know, my guru, Swami Vishwananda, will be coming on this trip. And at that point, I thought, well, I really wasn't interested in meeting a master, but I really wanted to do this, and it made no difference. I said to him, well, I could just get on with the charity stuff, and you guys can hang out in the evenings, right? Or whatever it is you do. And he's like, yeah, sure, you can. It's your time, you do what you want. I thought, fine, perfect. So the time came round, and I met everybody. It was a small group. It was about 15 to 20 people. And everyone was nice. Everyone's lovely. And I thought, I'm really going to enjoy this. Then come the evening, there was a certain excitement in the air. Basically, Guruji was going to come either late that evening or the early hours of the next morning. So, as you can imagine, everyone's buzzing, really. But like I said, I wasn't interested, and I just wanted to go to bed. So yeah, went to sleep. Then it came to 3 o'clock in the morning. For some reason, my body just woke up. I woke up with a bang. There was no noise, but I was wide awake. But I could hear people in the veranda just outside. And I thought, well, I'm awake. I'll just join them until I feel tired, and I'll go back to bed. And then I hear the car pulls up, and I'm going to just backtrack a little bit, because what I didn't know is the conversation that took place in the car. So Myron, Sairam, and maybe someone else went to collect Guruji from the airport. And on the way to the hostel, Guruji was asking, so who's there? And then when it came to my name, Myron said, oh, Suba, Bhavani's sister, is there. And he said, she's very confused. And I'm going to make her 10 times more confused. I didn't know this, but it will all transpire when I'm carrying on with the story. So Myron was the first one to walk up the stairs, and he avoids me. He doesn't make any eye contact. And at which point I'm thinking, what's happening? And then I kind of see why. You see, my idea of a guru is slightly maybe older person, mature, only in robes, simple attire, and doesn't mingle very much with people. He's very, very discreet. There's an image I had definitely in my mind. But in walks Guruji, and he's basically wearing this bright, luminous yellow Hawaiian style t-shirt. I think it had palm tree prints all over it. Long shorts, sandals, and he's chatting away to everybody. And I'm looking around trying to get Myron's eye contact here. I'm thinking, he's your guru? He's just the guy. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But hey, it's not my place to judge. I just didn't understand. Having met these people, they seemed really grounded, very intelligent people, and I just didn't understand what was going on here. But anyway, I introduced myself to Guruji, and I made a bit of small talk, how's your trip? And yeah, so on and so forth. And he was like, yeah, it was fine. I'm not too tired now. And I said, well, okay, I'm a bit tired, so I'm going to go to bed. And I took my leave and I just went to bed. The next day, basically, Guruji over breakfast had announced, okay, today I'm going to spend the day with the dentists. Again, didn't bother me. Myron's eyes lit up. He was really excited. So off we went to the next village. And they put us basically in this makeshift caravan. It was so small. It was only small enough to have maybe 2 chairs, so basically just for the patients, a table for the instruments and our sterilizing kit. So it was tight. But Guruji insisted, no, I'm spending the day with the dentists. So where's he going to sit? He sat on one of the chairs for the patients. So I'm looking at Myron thinking, well, okay, this is going to slow things down a lot, isn't it? But again, not my place, not my camp. So we just get on with it. But Guruji's sitting there and he's saying, oh, my shoulders really hurt. And I've really got a bad headache. And I'm treating patients, and we're taking turns to treat patients, and I'm overhearing this, and I'm thinking, well, you're a guru, surely you've transcended pain. This makes no sense. And he kept saying it. Myron's giving him shoulder massages, and Bhairavi, I think she was one of the translators, she was giving him water. And again, he kept saying, yeah, but it's really hurting. It's really hurting. And I thought, well, okay, in my mind, you're an ordinary dude. You clearly have just a headache. So I'm gonna say, look, I've got a painkiller if you want. I've got some painkillers in my bag. He's like, yeah, please. Yeah, that'd be great. So again, it's adding to my, you're not a master. You can't be a master. So I get the painkillers, and it's still in the foil packaging, and I hand it over to him, and he's like, no, you open it, give it to me. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not falling for this. I'm really not. Okay, fine, I'll open it. And I just reluctantly gave it to him. Like, you're not fooling me. Whatever's going on here, you're not fooling me. I see right through you. Anyway, so he takes the pills. And there was another incident actually that happened that day in the camp, in that a patient came in and he couldn't stop staring at Guruji. And I asked my translator, what's going on? Why does he keep staring at him? And Guruji at this point, he was leaning back. Myron might have been massaging his shoulders, but his eyes were closed. He wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And the guy says, can you not see? And we're like, what? And he's like, he's got a huge tilak on his head. Guruji's wearing his normal t-shirt and shorts, and there's no tilak at all. And this guy is describing him as if he's Narayan. And I'm like, okay, is this what you do? In my head, is this what you do? This is what you do. You hypnotize people. I let it go. I thought, no, I'm not falling for this. And then Guruji gets up and he says, oh, show me what instruments you're using. And by this time I'm getting vexed. My whole system it's a hot day. We're in cramped quarters, and okay, fine. And I reluctantly sort of point out some instruments. So we take out this tooth and such with that instrument. And all the while Guruji's cringing. He's like, oh gosh, I don't like the sight of blood. Oh my God, I don't know how you do this. And I'm getting more and more vexed. He's invading my personal space, and he's asking me more and more questions. Oh gosh, the needle's that big. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, okay, let me out, but I can't because he's blocking the only way out. So it was tense, to say the least. I'm trying to keep my cool, but he's clearly, his presence was getting to me. There's just something about him. It was getting to me. Anyway, that first day. It was a lot. So that night I decided, no, I'm not going to be in his company next day. I'm going to keep well out of his way. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm not getting involved. So that was my plan. I wake up in the morning and I'm ready to go down the stairs out of my room, and who should be there? Guruji standing there. He starts talking to someone else, and I thought, oh, now I just quickly go past him, just run past him to the canteen for breakfast. Just as I get to the bottom, he turns and he says, oh, good morning. I didn't turn around. I just said, yeah, good morning. And this is cringy. I'm quite ashamed of this, but it's my first meeting, so please forgive me. So I said, yeah, good morning. And it was under my breath. So he repeated himself and said, I said good morning. And I turned around at this point. Rude Suba came out. It's not very nice. I said good morning back. And he just smiled so sweetly. I was a different person then, I like to say. I like to think I was. He was just smiling at me so sweetly, very genuinely, which got me even more worked up. So I'm really losing it now. And I thought, I'm going to have it out with you. So I walked up to him and I said, listen, I don't know what's going on here. I'm perfectly happy in my life and I don't need you. And he, at that point, almost apologetically turned to say, oh, shouldn't I be here? And I felt bad at that point. I thought, here's me being invited to his medical camp, and I'm being rude to the host. And I thought, no, listen, it's your camp, you do what you want, but could you just do me one thing? Could you just stay out of my way today? And he just smiled. He put his hand on my cheek, and that was it. I burst into tears. I didn't even know what was happening at this point. And I'm getting more and more vexed. I'm sobbing. It's not pretty. It's not nice, dainty tears. It was proper sob. And I'm putting on my shades to try and look cool and saying to him at the same time, you know, I don't do this. I don't even know why I'm crying here. This is not me. And I'm sobbing. And he's still smiling. I said, so sweet. It's this, oh, so sweet. And I'm getting more and more worked up. I thought, no, I can't do this. So I just walked off. We were in the canteen, and they'd set up the big table for all of us to sit and join Guruji for breakfast. I was not in the mood for this. So I sat right at the other end of the room with my back turned. And all the while through breakfast, Guruji would turn around and say, Suba, he just said, Suba. And I'd burst into tears again, and I'd have to leave the room. And I was praying so hard, praying to God. I had deep faith in God, I'd say. I was praying, I don't know what's going on, but you've never let me down. I can't make sense of this, but help me, just help me. Whatever's going on, just help me. And I was praying so hard. Anyway, Guruji did exactly that. He did leave me alone for the rest of the trip, basically, the couple of days. And it was just an intense time. I couldn't make sense of it. My heart was exploding, but at the same time, my mind was trying to analyze it all. That's the only way I could describe it. So it was almost a whirling of emotion and feeling, and not coming to any conclusion. It was just going full circle. So it came to a point where I just had enough. I was so exhausted. I could not tell you how tired I was just of this thinking. And it, like I said, it was not making any sense. So one evening we had gone to dinner. And at that point I thought, you know, I've had enough. I've just had enough. I can't make sense of it. So I'm literally, or figuratively, going to just drop my mind. Just going to drop it. And Guruji had walked over. He was on his phone, and he'd walked around. He was just behind me, leaning up against the wall on his mobile phone, and his feet were on the ground. Obviously, he was standing, and he was doing his own thing. And in my head, I'm thinking, you are special. You are divine. I don't know how that relates to me, but it's clear to me at this point that you're going to be a big part of my life from this day onwards. And mentally, I bowed down to him. In my head, I was looking at his feet, and I did pranam. And at that point, he was still on his phone. He just put his hand on my head and looked at me and smiled, like, yeah, you got it. He read my mind. He knew exactly what it was. And he was waiting for that moment for me to just drop this into here, and it will just be calm. And it was. After that, I felt so much better. And it was an intense week or so, really. But I'm so thankful that he was patient enough to wait for me to just get over myself and just embrace what he has come here for. And that clearly was what I was asking for, but didn't realize, I think. So after that, I continued to see Guruji quite frequently in the step and soft days, and moving on to Springen. And I just have a few experiences that I'd like to share that that to me demonstrate his divinity, as well as his humanness, his sense of compassion and caring. So one such incident was materializations. I've been quite blessed in receiving materialized rings and earrings and so on and so forth. There's one such time when he gave me this ring. so it was Raksha Bandhan, and I really wanted to give him something. So I couldn't think of what to get, and then it came to me, oh, he likes Marmite, so I thought I'll give him a jar of Marmite. As I handed it over to him, he said, oh my gosh, it's like gold. And he was quite moved anyway. And he was walking away, and then he turned and he said, do you want something? I couldn't see, my eyes are failing, I'm getting old now. So I couldn't see who he was talking to. So I just stood there like a lemon. And then the Prabhus who were around him sort of said, Suba, he's calling you, he's asking you. I just walked up to him. In the meanwhile, he's doing his majestic wave, and I knew you instinctively know he's going to materialize something. And he's about to put a ring on my finger. And again, old Suba mode came back, and I just immediately blurted out, oh, my fingers are so fat. I was just getting paranoid at that point. And he before he put it on my finger, he took it back to his mouth, blew on it, and it became bigger. And then he put it on my finger. And it was almost like, there you moany girl, you got it now. But it was quite a unique materialization that I just thought it was quite sweet and fun at the time as well. There was another time when like Guruji knows everything, and for someone who knows everything, he really is super humble. So there's some years back, they had built and inaugurated a small Gayatri temple. It's like the Kali Ma temple outside in the shed, similar size, and it was just opposite. And we were talking to Guruji outside, and abruptly he just turned to me and said, did you see the temple? I said, yeah. And I went up closer and I looked through the window, and he said, no, go inside and sit. And I did. And that night, accidentally the temple caught fire, sadly, and everything was destroyed. And it was like his way of saying, I guess I like to take it, his way of saying, listen to me and get her blessings now. I'm not going to tell you why, but get her blessings and sit and get her darshan. So it's like Guruji can be quite subtle in certain things, but he's trying to give constantly. So that I found was quite a nice experience. And also he's not limited by his body and what he can give to his devotees. So there's one time, I think it was 2014. Kesh was very young, and Guruji had come over to the UK to give darshan. And it started quite late, and there are quite a few newcomers, and obviously you give them priority. But Kesh was getting more and more agitated, and for some reason he wasn't calming down. So I had to take him home, and it was with such a heavy heart. I couldn't get darshan, and I had to leave before I could get darshan. So I was even crying on the way home, but it was like, this is the way it is. This is mum's life, I suppose. What can you do? And that night, Guruji came to me in my dream. And just like he does now online, he appeared to me for like his face. And he instructed me, look into my eyes and continue to look into my eyes. And at that point, I knew I'm getting darshan, or I woke up, should I say. And I realized I just received darshan in such a unique way at the time. And this is how he, time and space is not an issue for him. He'll do what he needs to do. And I was really touched that he did that. I wasn't even asking. It didn't occur to me to ask even. It just that my heart was obviously calling, and he answered it. So that to me was quite a powerful experience. And like that, he knows what we're feeling. He knows what we need. Since moving to Germany, I guess, as a mum, it is difficult to attend events or participate in the way we want. We're at the beck and call of our kids, and we just make do, and that is still special. And Guruji will still always respond to whatever your heart's calling. I really truly believe that. There was one particular day I was having such a bad time with Rama. I don't know whether you mentioned Shez, but Rama's autistic, so he's a character in himself, and he's a bit of a challenge. But I was having a very, very bad day with him, and as soon as Anshul walked in through the door, I said, I need to go. I need to be in the temple. I need to get some sort of peace just for a couple of minutes. And I knew it couldn't be for long, because soon it was time for Guruji to call the Prabhus for dinner, and I knew Anshul would be invited. So I knew I'd only be able to go there for a short while, but I needed it. Again, I specifically wanted to touch Narasimha's feet. He's my Ishtadev, and to me, Guruji and Narasimha are the same. So I really wanted to go to the altar and touch his feet. I walked into the temple, and there were so many people, and the queue was too long and time was ticking, and I really didn't have the time. And I just decided I'm going to just bow down where I stood. As I was about to do that, Guruji walks out of the puja kitchen, and he comes over and says, so how are you? The usual. And I must have just rolled my eyes, and I just said, Rama. And he went, oh, and he took me aside and into the private interview area just near the temple, and he said, so tell me. And I just like a mum who was just at her wit's end, who just wanted to have a cup of tea and chat with her friend and moan about the kids. I was just venting. So I was like, Rama did this and he did that, and then I had to tell him off about this, and then I just vented, and he was listening. And even Guruji was chiming in saying, oh gosh, that Rama, and oh, did you? Oh, it's good you told him off, and oh yeah. And it was like two ladies just chatting away. One, obviously he was just listening, and I was just venting. And that's all I needed. Towards the end, I felt almost like, oh, I'm really sorry, Guruji, I just chewed your ear off about Rama. And he's also your devotee, he's yours. He's like, it's okay. And I felt really touched that I'm just a mum, nothing else. And he was prepared to take his time out from his busy day, which he could have been doing 101 better things than to listen to me moan. I was quite moved, and that's what he's like. He's just there. He's there for you. He's there. You just have to call him. He'll be there. Yeah, so last year, basically, it was very sweet of Guruji. He invited us as a family to Lanzarote with him on his holiday. And Anshu was in the bungalow at this time when he texted me to say that. And I had to ask him, are you sure he meant all of us? Because this is his private time. A relaxing holiday for Guruji would not be relaxing if Rama was there. And I just thought, just clarify that. He didn't just mean you and Kesh, he meant all of us. And he said, no, he meant all of us. And I thought, okay, I'm really touched. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, somehow we're going to have to make this work, because this is Guruji's private time. But as soon as we got there, Guruji was hands-on with Rama. He took the lead. He was mom and dad at that moment. And it was like there's a time for work, there's a time for prayer, and there's a time for rest. And he allowed me, I would say, to get that rest. It was just a mental space. For example, we were having dinner, and I don't think I can recall a time where I've sat from the beginning to the end, and I'm sure mums can relate, of the meal without being disturbed in some shape or form. And yeah, Rama was up to some mischief in the middle of dinner. I could hear him. And I was just about to leave the table, and Guruji said, no, you sit down, you finish your meal, I'll deal with him. And I knew Rama was being naughty, so it wasn't a kind of, I'll just look at him. No, he had to tell him off. He had to get him on the naughty step or the chair. And Rama wasn't liking this. So, but Guruji got in there. He got involved, and he was telling Rama, no, you listen. And he's been very firm. And I was really touched. I thought, you didn't have to do that. I can do this. It's fine. But like I said, he gave me that time. And even the following days, we'd go to the beach. So is a beautiful beach, but I could lose Rama in an instant. And he was like, no, I'm taking Rama. I'll take care of Rama. And I got to relax at the beach and just take in the atmosphere, be in the presence of Guruji, and really not in, like I said, have that part of my brain just switch off. And it was like that whole time. And this is how Guruji can be. And he is continuously. There's one night he insisted he wanted to put the boys to bed. And so Kesh is a good boy. He would go to bed. So he listened to Guruji. Rama, no, he wasn't having it. Oh, I don't want to go to bed now, and I don't want you to be putting me to bed. So there was a battle, and it probably took about 30 minutes for Guruji to, I'm not lying, it takes that long sometimes, but it took 30 minutes for him to get Rama to sleep. And Rama just fell asleep, I think, just because of sheer exhaustion. He was so tired. But even after that, what really touched me was that Guruji turned back and said, oh, the room's a bit stuffy. It's not nice for the boys to breathe there. So he insisted that we put mesh, he would put mesh window frames in, instead of leaving the window open to prevent the insects from coming in. So he put up the mesh frame instead. And it wasn't fitting properly. So he and Anshul were just spending, again, another 20 minutes just trying to get this mesh frame up from the window so that the boys could sleep comfortably that night. And it's like that, how we don't even realize what Guruji does for us. We're asleep. We don't know that these are the things that he does behind the scenes to make our lives more comfortable. We don't see it, we don't know it, but it's happening. He's so involved in our lives. That, yeah, it blows me away how giving he is and how humble he is. He would never say, I did this for you. You know I would, to get brownie points, but he doesn't. He stays low. He's under the radar. He doesn't want to get that. He just wants to give. He's just continuously giving. I don't think he even knows how not to give. And for that, I'm just so utterly thankful. And one thing I would say, he really knows us. He knows us. He doesn't just observe our lives. He feels what we're going through. Just literally last weekend, it was the Sri Yantra course, and Anshul was with Guruji a lot of the day, and I was trying to figure out time to just get something down for this satsang. And again, had the kids there, so I was getting a bit frantic because I thought I only really have the weekend. And that evening, Guruji had turned to Anshul and said, "So how's Suba?" And Anshul said, "Oh yeah, she's a bit stressed. She's had the boys with her the whole day." And he said, "Yeah, I could feel it. I could feel her stress." And like that, he wasn't just observing what I was going through. He feels it. And I felt a bit bad, actually. I thought, oh gosh, he doesn't have to feel my stress. But at the same time, it brought comfort. You should never, ever feel that you're alone. When he says, I'm always with you, and that all you have to do, you don't even have to think of him. But if you do think of him, you'll feel him. But he's just there waiting. He's just there waiting for you to say, okay, come with me. I'll take you through my day. And he's feeling it all. I don't know, Shez. Is that okay? Is that enough?
Nice. You can keep going.
That's kind of covered the ones that I wanted to really share, I guess, that I had planned. I'm happy to go to questions, or is that too short?
No, it's fine. It's up to you. It's absolutely fine. I mean, like, obviously, probably before we go to questions, like, what was it like in terms of that? Anshul spoke a lot about the transition between the move from London to Germany, but I always remember him kind of saying how you were more kind of the trusting one out of the two of them. So what was it like having like your completely normal life here, married with kids, all going fine, and then that transition to Germany? What was it like from your perspective?
I think I wouldn't say, yeah, again, I really think he planted this thought of not being fearful, shall I say. He must have done it, because to think that you've moved from your comfort zone, we were fine where we were, and he obviously was dropping hints throughout the years, but he really pushed it towards the end. And I think it came to a point that I thought, well, why would he ask us? He wouldn't purposely, like I said, he only ever does things for our own benefit. And why would he ask us to do this? Just got to do it. Just give it a shot. And maybe he just blanked that out of me. Don't fight this, Suba. And then we did it. I would say though, it was really hard. It was a challenge. Just because Guruji asks you to do something doesn't necessarily it's going to be the easiest path, but it's like, I would say it's like a personal trainer. You know it's good for you. You don't like that he's telling you, go and give me 10 more, but you know you just got to do it. And you also know you're going to come out better for it. And that's what it is. You almost have to say, he's on your side. He's not against you. He's working with you. He's just got to push you through. So for whatever the reason was that he needed us to be here, we needed to be here. It was only for our benefit. And I guess now, because initially, I won't go over it too much, but Anshul losing his job, we got the diagnosis for Rama at that stage, and it's a bit of a blow to the heart there. So emotionally, financially, everything was, oh God, this is a struggle. But all the while, you knew, because you were doing what Guruji had asked of you, it gave you the strength. Because like I said, if Guruji can respond to a moaning mum about Rama being a pain, he's hearing my thoughts throughout the whole day. So whenever I'm having a bad day, I'm talking to him. That's all I do. I talk to him. Said, okay, if this is hard, you have to help me. You just have to. You're here for me, and you will help me. It's a bit like a tantrum from a kid, but I'm asking nicely, but it's a bit more like, yeah, but you have to, you just have to. And he does, he really does. But again, he won't manifest himself in his Vishwarupam and say, yeah, I'm here to help. It's you do the work, and he gives you the strength. That's all I can describe it as. And we've come out of it the other end, and then it's obviously challenges. Life's going to throw you challenges. That's the nature of life. But when you feel that you can breathe, you've done something that he's asked, and I couldn't ever imagine myself going back to the UK. It's a very special place to be. I still have to learn German, sadly. I can't get over that one, but again, that's a nice sort of, it's a nice opportunity to tax that side of my brain that's probably switched off since dental school. I think I've never to learn anything new. So it's just new challenges, and just got to face it. And it's quite exciting at the same time. It's an exciting journey to have him also.
Okay, no, yeah, I think I think I've said it to you guys several times. You're definitely better off.
Yeah,
absolutely. Even when he's not physically at the ashram, that you don't get to see him constantly. The fact that your normal day means that your normal day can involve evening prayers at the Sri Pithanilaya temple is absolutely remarkable. And we'll probably go on when we see some of the pictures to speak about sort of the children sort of a bit later and what they're doing, but they're heavily involved in ashram life as well, even at such a young age. So it's just absolutely great. I think just before we go on to the questions, I think one thing I'll say is that Guruji is actually taking quite an active part in these satsangs, because it's obviously we approached yourself and Anshul some time ago, but Anshul said in the last satsang that it was Guruji that gave him the nudge to come out and talk to everyone here in the UK on Zoom and on Facebook. I think it was a similar thing with yourself, wasn't it? I think Anshul finished the last satsang, and I think the first thing Guruji said was when Suba doing hers. So I'm saying this to everyone so you can see that Guruji wants us to hear kind of what Suba has said today, and to really imbibe sort of the lessons and the experiences that she's shared. So that's really good for everyone. So in terms of questions, I've been told that no one on Facebook has any questions, but that's fine. Don't take it personally. It means that you did it perfectly. But we do have a couple of people who have asked questions on Zoom. So a lady called Sasha has said, can you ask her, Suba, has your son improved by his association with Guruji in the long run? So I'm assuming they mean Rama. You can talk about Kesh as well. So how have the kids been in there, kind of with their association with Guruji?
Kesh, I'll talk about both. I mean, Kesh is very shy in nature, and but again, Guruji's he's always been very super sweet with Kesh. Dare I say it might change, but Kesh is a good boy, so he's easy to be quite fond of, I suppose. And Guruji has taken an interest in especially his spiritual development. And it's quite indirect sometimes, so it benefits all of us. I remember Guruji talking to Kesh and saying, so are you doing prayers at home, or have you learnt the prayers? This is a few years back. And Kesh would say, yeah, sometimes. And he said, oh, maybe you do puja with your mum. So it was like his way of saying, mum needs to do puja, and she'll be, and I thought, okay, and it is good. It's like our thing. We'll do it, mum and son time. And similarly, he asked Kesh to be one of the, I guess, mini pujaris that help, but sadly not during Corona times, but he would serve Ranganath. And it's really quite sweet to see how Kesh has evolved and connects with his deity and Ranganath. Sometimes he would say, oh, look, mummy, Ranganath's wearing this, and maybe we get this for our deity, and the same colors, and he there's a certain excitement. And
he's only 7 years old, isn't he?
So yeah, he's only 7 years old. And it's so beautiful because we didn't teach him this. I think it's innate in most children, in all children really, that innocence, and they have this connection with the divine very naturally. And Guruji's just, he's gonna nurture it. And like he says, if we don't do this stuff now, they're gonna go on their way in life anyhow. But this foundation needs to be set. And that I would say Kesh's relationship with the divine God Guru, he really respects and loves Guruji, and I can see it in his eyes. He doesn't say as much, but I can see it. Rama, it still shocks me how Guruji will still have time for Rama. And Rama is a very free spirit. He's just himself. And Guruji says,
how old's Rama? Just remind
he's 5 now.
5 years old. Okay.
And
what age was he when he had the diagnosis?
So we just moved, so he turned 2. 2. Okay. So he just turned 2. And again, I remember when we approached the kindergarten to get him into what we call an integration place. He needs to be around people. It's good for their social development, etc. And they said, oh, we definitely need the diagnosis from a psychologist. And we had gotten that within a month or 2 months of having seen got an appointment with the psychologist, and then got the report back soon after. And even the kindergarten were very surprised. They said usually parents have to wait almost a year to even just get an appointment with a psychologist. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's Guruji. He got us in at the right time when we knew we were going to get this. It was quite a heavy blow, I'd admit, having got that diagnosis. But again, being around nature, being in this environment, it does something for Rama. He loves it. He's truly himself. And I think, I would say it's been the best thing for him. And Guruji, again, he encourages his freedom, but he's strict with Rama at the same time. There was a time when I was at the back of the temple a lot, and Guruji would come and say, why are you there? Why are you sitting at the back? I said, because Rama. And he said, oh, just let him be. And I just thought, yeah, I've just got to accept that this is how he is. and he will change. He can sit down now.
Yeah,
I would say
I've seen.
again, I've seen
Yeah.
Guruji has been, this last Janmashtami even, Guruji made him, you sit down, and he sat there, not even next to me, he sat there, and even Anshul had to get up and help Guruji, and he still sat there. And like that, Guruji knows what every person is capable of. We can look and think, no, he can't do that, and he's like, no, I know what this child is able to do.
Yeah.
And like he knows what each one of us is capable of.
Absolutely.
And so,
Okay.
I hope that
really
answers
good.
the question. So.
Well, more than answer the question, absolutely fine. So, Suba, it turns out that you do have several questions to answer now. As you were talking, I think at least 2 or 3 more came in. What I'll do is I'll actually do the Zoom questions first that people have put on the chat, and then we'll switch to a couple that have come through on Facebook.
Yep.
So the next one on Zoom from Gina Narayan, are you practicing now? Gina, you can put you can come off mute. What do you mean by Suba saying are you practicing now? If you're there.
Oh, I meant as a dentist. Thanks for muting me. How's that side of your life going?
Yeah, it's on pause, I would say. Yeah, obviously since I was working right up until the move. I was a special care dentist, shall we say, and I was happy. It was working well. But to come here to Germany, there was a lot of things. You have to speak German. There's certain things to get your license here, and the main focus was for Anshul to get that in place. And like I said, now I'm learning German. I think let's see what happens. I think when it's not that I've given up on the career at all. Even just last year, I took out Anshul's tooth. I got a bit of a kick out of it. I was like, yeah, I love this. I do like what I do. Not that it was my husband and I was taking his tooth out, but I know I'm good at this. I can do this, you know. But again, we'll see what happens. I'm learning German and we'll take it from there. Right now with Rama being the way he is, he doesn't settle very easily in kindergarten. So it's not so easy for me to structure my day and go to work in a very structured format. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
But you never know.
It's good for the update, Suba. So the next question is, a lot of people cannot come to SPN for events at the moment. So what have you learned, Suba, from not being able to attend the festivals and see Guruji despite being near to the ashram? So what's it like for you in terms of what you've learned? You can't always be at the festivals, but what do you learn from that, even though you still sort of see Guruji?
Because I just don't want to sound condescending, because I'm very lucky to be here, and even just being in the environment itself is very good. It's like you feel like you're at home. Like when it's Sri Pithanilaya, it's the home of the Divine Mother, and that is exactly how it feels. But I would say, especially since when Guruji told me to do puja with Kesh, and specifically to my Ishtadev, Kesh would do to his and I would do to mine, and it's one and the same. And I've always felt so much better after doing that puja. It's like you've taken time to connect. That's all it is. And that can happen in any way. But for me, I enjoy puja. And like I said, whenever I do, I feel like he's there. He's there, and very often I know I've been able to get that feedback, because there are many times when I've randomly come into the ashram, or even as I was leaving, and I'd bump into Guruji coincidentally, you know. And it's not that I'm trying to plan a strategic ambush almost. I'm just literally, I have to get on with my day. If the kids need feeding, if the kids need to go to bed, or it's usually revolving around the kids. But I would say he makes it, for me, he makes himself present in a very short space of time, almost to acknowledge, yes, I heard you. And like that, when we do think of him, he's there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. Okay, that's really good. Okay, moving on to sort of the final questions from Facebook. This has been quite an interesting one. So, today in a relationship, if one does not get the attention or spend time obviously with the other partner, it can lead to friction and arguments with your partner. So, in your case with Anshul, I don't know if this is Anshul who's writing this. I don't get to see the name on the messages that he sent.
It was a stressful day today, mind you. So
okay, it could be Anshul and just on incognito. In your case with Anshul spends a lot of time with Guruji. So how have you accommodated this in your daily life, and how has it strengthened you on this spiritual path?
it's funny. Okay, we're married, but when it comes to Guruji, we have our own unique path, and I want to keep it that way, quite frankly. It's mine and mine alone, and he is mine and I'm his in terms of Guruji, right? So like that, whatever he does for any member of the family, he's also considered the other person. It's not that he's separated. He's feeding everybody in that. So if he's asked Anshul, and there have been times where it's been a tough day, like I said, and he'll, oh, Anshul, I want help with relics, like he can ask anybody, but he specifically has asked for Anshul, which means Anshul needs to benefit from his presence. Similarly, I need to learn in that moment that I can trust Guruji. Am I going to trust him? And that's the question I ask. Do I trust him? If he knows what he's doing, then he can help me at home as well. And he does exactly that. And it allows me to almost say, okay, we're a team as well. So you take Anshul's with Guruji, and Guruji, part of you, you have to come here as well and help me out. And it works. It really does. Because if I don't trust him, then I'm going to sit there comparing, and that devalues my own relationship. And no, he's with me. And I refuse to think that it has to be a certain way. It is the way it is, and is special. I'm not compromising on that. It is special. And that's how I viewed it. And plus I like my time. I love my husband, but I do like I like my time alone as well.
Just about to say wise words, but the real sentence came out. So.
And you know, it's funny. Guruji the other day, he was I don't know, he was bungalow for some reason, and he was saying, look, this is where I entertain your husband. And it was like him saying, no, Anshul, I love you, but you might not serve anything to serve a purpose for Guruji, but he's giving my husband, he's serving my husband almost. You know what I mean? He's giving an opportunity for him. And that's like I said, that's exactly what Guruji does. He just gives. He's not taking anything. He doesn't need anyone to serve him.
100%. Okay, that's really good. And the final question, Jay Gurudev, thank you so much, Subaji, for this wonderful sharing, very special. Any advice you would like to share with us as deepen our relationship with Guruji, please?
Gosh, I talk to him. It's just that.
Or the inside.
Oh yeah. I might even sound it out, but I don't. If anyone was like looking into my house, you'd say like a crazy woman. But internally, I'm always talking to him. I take him with me throughout my day, and because I don't often get the chance to sit down and just be quiet and sit and meditate, and in fact, that's not very. It doesn't come very easy to me. So I just bring him along throughout my day, and it's like you take, for example, I know Guruji likes horror movies sometimes. I like scary movies too. And I'd come across a movie and I'd be watching it and I'd go, oh, come on, Guruji, we'll watch this together. It's like, and it's just like that, like how a kid has an imaginary friend, but he's not imaginary, he's there, like that. And that's how I deepen it, because it becomes, you're putting the effort, you're talking to them, and it works that way.
Okay.
It works for me that way.
No, absolutely, very true. I think I had a similar piece of advice from someone only 2 weeks ago. The same thing, actually remembering him in what you're doing. So it sounds simple, but we all need that reminder. And he reminds us of that point as well. So I think what we'll do just with what we'll do now, I think we'll move on to the photo section. I think if anyone else has questions afterwards, just feel free to send them in, and we'll get them to Suba, and she can answer them. But if sorry, Sonam Krishna, if you can pop up the PowerPoint with some of the photos.
Oh yeah. So this is actually the first medical camp that I did and met Guruji. You see Myron
on the so
on the left.
I forgot in the introduction, the other reason why we do these satsangs is so we can look at pictures of Myron from that time, and we can talk about his facial hair again.
Yes.
But no, it's a shame you didn't have the as I was hearing as he was speaking at the start. I was thinking it's a shame we didn't have the picture of Guruji walking down with his was it his Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, someone must have it somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have to if God willing allows us to show that picture.
Yeah.
One day we could. But sorry, Suba, go ahead and just.
No. That was it. It was. This was probably when Guruji had left at this point, I think. But his job was done. It's like how the hero detonates the bomb in the background and he's just coolly walking past. That's what he did with me in my head. He just dropped the bomb and he's like walking away and you deal with that now. Like he said, I'm going to make you 10 times more confused. And that's exactly, he worked it to the extent that I just couldn't handle it anymore. But this is, I'm smiling, so I think I got it at that point.
The digital picture sort of came out, and okay, we move on to the next one.
Oh, you mean on the right? That's
and sorry, yeah, the girls can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, this is a glam shot. No, this is Ravi and Hina's wedding. It was very sweet that Guruji took the time. He was just standing there, and a few of us just said, "Oh, can we take a photo?" And yeah, and we did.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, also we see that girl a lot on the left, the Suba sister Bhavani. Yeah, very very prominent in the ashram as well. Okay, we can move on to the next one.
And this was my. This is we were by the River Ganga. Bhavani's working face. Yeah, we were by the banks of the Ganga. We had just had a dip in the Ganga, and it was a very special time. And that was my only pilgrimage to India with Guruji.
I think this was the first major India pilgrimage was early 2008, wasn't it? And sort of the group of you went. I think it was the pilgrimage. I think that's the pilgrimage when Guruji himself was kind of initiated into the Sri Vaishnava tradition. So that's obviously your sister Bhavani in full-on singing mode. Normally the embarrassing pictures are meant to be of yourself as the speaker, but you chose to put your sister and as my sister there
as well, but she looks
very suspicious of someone or something. Who maybe have to ask her what was up with her that day, but yeah, something completely perturbed her. Maybe Myra was playing the wrong beat on the drum or something, and she's giving her a look.
I'm going to hear this laughter.
And obviously that's Bhavani on the left. I think that was it? Is that Guruji's 30th birthday party or around that time?
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, on the right side.
Nice.
And what's interesting, how I just want to point out, look at how tilaks are different, and it's like how Guruji his persona has evolved throughout the years. Even his tilaks have changed.
Yeah, I think even a few weeks ago he commented on my lack of perfect tilak as well. So I think we all still need a bit of evolving. So we can move on to the next one. So fast forwarding a number of years, you're now married with children.
Yeah.
So this is about 4 years ago. So this is with Kesh and Anshul.
Yeah. So this is basically it was again very sweet. Guruji had invited us to be part of his guest entourage for his cousin sister's wedding in the UK. And again, we sort of took a photo op with him there. And on the right is this year, earlier, because it was Corona time and it was Kesh's birthday during that time, we had to warn Kesh we couldn't invite people or his friends. But we said we'd invite Guruji, but we don't know whether he'll come. He was just he'd just come back from India and gone through the whole quarantine process, isolation process. And it was very sweet. He agreed to come. And that's him feeding birthday cake to Kesh there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So that's your son number one. And son number two, this is Ram.
This is it's like a horror movie clip. But there is a story behind this, okay? So that's actually not blood. That's from a cactus fruit. So this is from Lanzarote, and Guruji was cutting the cactus fruit and giving us a piece and feeding us. And it came to Rama's turn. So effectively, this is prasad, right? And he's trying to give Rama the prasad, the cactus fruit, and it tastes yummy. But Rama's resisting unless prasad comes in the form of an Oreo biscuit, ice cream, or the Bargain Cafe chocolate croissant. He's not interested. It doesn't matter who's giving it to him. So Guruji insisted he has to have that. And that's the drama behind. He just sat on the side and started wailing. It's just Rama. He's not hurt. No animals or Rama were injured during the making of this movie. And then look, switch to how he is sometimes with Guruji, and he's sweet as pie when he's in the right mood. They have a very special bond, I have to say. I've noticed, and Rama listens to him now. Guruji spent a lot of time with him in Lanzarote, and he, like I said, he took the reins of being a parent, and they've created a very special bond.
Okay, that's really nice. Okay, next.
Okay, so this was I want to say 2 years back, Navaratri. My sister, along with other couples, were getting married at the time, and I was asked to read out the bride's vows. And this is why it's quite funny being around Guruji. So I just went blank, and I couldn't say the Sanskrit verses in the correct tone, and there's a rhythm to it, right? And I was just reading it, and Guruji turned to me and said, "Why you're not reading Tamil? It's Sanskrit. Read it properly." And I couldn't. I looked at him and said, "I don't know." And he took over, and he basically said the Sanskrit, and I would translate in English, and that was why we're laughing, because I just couldn't get it.
That's sweet, man. So yeah, that's Bhavani on the left getting married.
Yeah,
That's just to clarify. That's not Guruji's hand on her head giving darshan. That's actually the hand of her husband Jaitraya. So I don't quite know what part of the ceremony that was. It looks like Jaitraya is giving her darshan, but it's just her husband Jaitraya. So as we've indirectly kind of spoken about Bhavani a lot, but it's also amazing that your sister is also living, your next door neighbor in Germany as well. So he really Guruji really orchestrated the life of your whole family situation. Really incredibly. And Bhavani, if you're listening, we would really look forward to hearing from you sometime as well. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the photos and the end of the satsang. So Suba, a huge thank you for sort of taking the time out.
No, thank you.
Speaking to not just the UK, but all of us sort of around the world, everyone who's kind of watching and listening. And I guess on a personal note, between us and the other 1,000 people that are listening, I remember those early days, vividly seeing kind of the inner battle that you were having manifesting outside for all of us to kind of see. But I think your sort of friends and family, and I'm sure Guruji as well, is really sort of proud and impressed in terms of how you overcame those challenges, those internal challenges that you were sort of dealing with, and in terms of what you have become now, as to say. So as I said earlier, Anshul, when Anshul was telling us the story last time, how he had to be a taxi driver in your first kind of year or two of living in Germany. And I used to do the monthly journeys with him, and he was always, as I said, genuinely, he was always sort of praising you, and sort of how strong you were, and precisely how much faith you had in Guruji. Actually, that was a bit that he was emphasizing. Yeah, absolutely, that's sort of come across here. So it's really, as I said, again, lovely to hear from you, hear your journey, to hear parts of your stories, and I think we kind of probably speak for everyone that we'd love to hear more from you. So I think if anyone from SPN Temple team who organises those satsangs is listening, maybe Suba can share the those fortnightly Sunday morning satsangs with your husband Anshul, and we get to hear more, because I feel like we've heard like tip of the iceberg kind of stories from you. I'm sure there are so many more to hear, so it'd be really great for all of us to hear them. So again, huge thank you to you on behalf of everyone who's listening.
No, thank you for taking the time. It's been lovely to relive it and share with you guys. Thank you.
Good. So what we'll do just before we'll go, we'll just have a brief summary of what's coming up, both sort of internationally and the UK. So if we can just pop up some of the slides for the next event. So it's not happening until, I think, what was the message from SPN? So usually Guruji does connect with the divine on Tuesdays and Thursdays. As you can see, that's where Suba does her other job of presenting. The next broadcast will not be this week. It will be on Tuesday, the 4th of August. So there's no Connect with the Divine next week. It will restart again the week after, on the 4th of August. So really important, especially during this time where we don't get to physically see Guruji in person in the ashram, but we can all connect with him, as the name says, connect with the divine. We can connect with him when we're sitting at home in other countries, do the japa with him, listen to the timeless wisdom of the satsangs that he's giving. And on the days where he doesn't do connect with the divine, he says keep chanting, keep listening to the satsangs. They're all on YouTube, and keep that connection going. But that's kind of the next online event that's coming up with Guruji. I can move on to the next one. So the next public darshans, I don't think the registrations is open yet. If I'm wrong, apologies. But the next set of public darshans will be, again, not next week, but the week after, on the 6th, and another one on the 13th of August. So he gives 2 public darshans on those Thursdays. I'm saying UK time here, just convert it into whatever time you're in the country that you're in. So UK time, he gives darshans 2:30 and 5:30 on those Thursdays, Thursday the 6th of August and the 13th of August. So keep an eye on the Bhakti Marga calendar on the bhaktimarga.org website, and register as soon as you can, because they set out within minutes those spots. Okay, and the next one. Guruji will be celebrating Krishna Janmashtami in just over about 2.5 weeks, 12th and 13th of August. There'll be it's not just the nighttime festival, but there's going to be activities across those 2 days. So just keep an eye on the Bhakti Marga social media channels and the Telegram channels for details of what's going to be happening for Krishna Janmashtami. And then we'll switch to events in the UK. So we do daily Vedic chanting every day, first thing 7 o'clock in the morning, where at the moment we're doing chanting the Narayana Suktam. I think Fridays is Sri Suktam. And also in the evenings, just in the last week, we've started Bhagavad Gita chanting with Anand. So if anyone wants to join, get in touch with us on the Facebook page, and we'll help connect you. We also every Sunday we do an Atma Kriya session, which is slightly different. It's called Practicing Atma Kriya Yoga with Deepness and Love. Rolls off the tongue. It's every Sunday at 11 o'clock, again on Zoom. So if you're initiated into Atma Kriya yoga, again, get in touch with us on the page or on the Telegram channel and connect with other Kriya sadhaks every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock UK time. Okay, next we do weekly chanting Om sessions every Thursday, again UK time, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We've been doing this for the past few months during lockdown. It's a really great way of doing the Om chanting, even though we can't do it in person. It's just as powerful doing it this way. So again, every Thursday, 7 o'clock UK time, we do the chanting Om sessions online. So keep a lookout on social media and on Telegram for how to join. And finally, we've got an Atma Kriya yoga course coming up. I think this one's spread over 3 days, from Friday the 31st of July to Sunday the 2nd of August. 3 sessions, 12 till 4, again via Zoom. Book on the Bhakti Marga UK website. It's in the calendar on that page if you wish to book. Okay, I think, is there anything? Yep, there's still more. Again, on Friday the 31st of July, we have a Simply Meditation course online, 3 till 6 p.m. Again, if you wish to go on that course, book on bhaktimarga.co.uk. And finally, we are also doing a Project Mantra course in a couple of weeks on Saturday, the 8th of August. Very short 1 hour Project Mantra course, learning how to chant the divine names and to keep that, encourage that kind of daily practice. So again, we're on our brand new website, bhaktimarga.co.uk. It was revamped last week. Go onto the calendar section and you can book onto any course that you wish. And I think that brings us to the end. So again, huge thank you to Suba, a huge thank you to everyone who's tuned in to listen live. And if you're rewatching this on Facebook in a few days or weeks, a huge thank you to you to also taking the interest of listening to the satsang. And I think, as we said, it's not a coincidence, you know, that Suba's telling us these things. Really take to heart kind of what she's said in terms of the lessons that she's learned, and we can see how those lessons, see how it applies to you in your life and with your relationship with Guruji. So you can put comments on Facebook, put comments on the Telegram group if you wish to say sort of thank you, Suba. We can just for a few seconds just do that thing that Guruji does. We're all going to do it now. Unmute everyone, and you can all just say sort of huge thank you to Suba if you wish. On.
Hey Gurudev, thank you, Suba.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, thank you.
Jai Gurudev,
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Suba.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Bye.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. There we go.
Thanks, Suba. Yes.
Worried there's going to be that silence that's going to go on for longer than that. So that's very good. So, okay, we'll finish up there with our final prayer. So, Om Shanti.
Who muted everybody?